Hello, I'm Brendon Rogers from the Adventures of Gerard Dupris, inviting you to come see the world through the piercing gray eyes of me, the sleuth of old New Orleans. I became involved with this production back in 2014, sometime in the spring of 2014. And it was a busy year for me because I directed like 3 plays that year, and I was acting in one of them. I did two films that year, and I had produced one of them, did a TV pilot and all this. And one of the plays that I was directing, one of the actresses in it was Liz Curtis. And she had already been attached to this production. And she said to me, "Hey, did you notice," it was like during a rehearsal or something, and she said, "Hey, did you see what Bo is doing and all this?" And I said, "No, I had no idea." Now, I had known Bo Mahiran for on and off socially for probably now 5 or 6 years, something like that. We'd never worked together before. I said, no, I didn't. I had no idea what he's doing. So she kind of gave me a background of it. It was very vague, so I reached out to Bo and I said, well, thinking he needed help finding actors for it. And I said, hey, are you looking for people for this thing or whatever? And he said, well, I don't know if you want to come and read or whatever. Great. So I went in to do a read for him thinking that it would, end up being, I'd be like the killer of the week or something like that. I just figured it would be a day thing, and that was it. It ended up where we did a read, we talked about the concept, I was very intrigued by the material, and then he turned around in the same session and said, so I'm kind of thinking about you for this character, for Gerard Dupris. And I was hooked. I was immediately interested in it. I read the material, I read the pilot, and the first season had not fully been written by that point. But we went through and looked at some of went through all the scripts that were available. And right away I thought, this premise is very interesting, because I thought in terms of the writing, it very prudently balanced what you would think of as a procedural show with a serialized show. But the nature of what had been created by Bo and also with Jen Brown was that because of this character, because he's a private investigator, he has sort of the ultimate skeleton key for every door in the city. Because, one episode he could be dealing with, someone who's very poor. The next episode he's solving a case for like the richest person in the city. That element, I felt, would allow, as the series goes on, to really take advantage of this broad landscape that Bo and Jen had developed. The noir nature of it was interesting too, because I think a lot of people feel or connect this type of project with something like Dick Tracy or whatever. And it's really not. I thought what was really interesting to me about Jerry was that he's not driven to do what he does because of a moral crusade or moral choices. He's a very practical, pragmatic guy who found himself to be broke, and he was like, I need a job, and I'm in the pilot we established he's a good detective. But like many noirish protagonists, whether you're talking about Rick in Casablanca or Jake in Chinatown, he's someone who's forced to confront things about himself, about his perception of things. And I don't mean amorally, it could be apathetic things that he just didn't care about. But his morality tale is told in the course of doing his job. He confronts things about himself that he maybe really didn't expect to do. That nuanced, layered approach to the character, and not just Jerry, I mean, it's with, I think, all the characters in the show, that there is no black and white. They're all shades of gray. That was a really interesting thing, for me at least, when I started to look at the material. And I was not specifically looking to do a series at that time because I was very busy with other things. But now, whatever it is, 2 years later, starting season 3, it was a very rewarding choice for me. I'm very, very happy that I did it. I relate to Dupris about as well as I've ever related to any character I've played, because he struggles with himself as often as he struggles with whatever his foil is for a certain episode. Or in the longer term, he's dealing with the presence of Boudreaux, which is a sort of a walking reminder, not only of his past failings, but maybe his failings as a person, which we will continue to explore and delve into. But I think I relate to this character because I think, like most extremely well-written characters, he's defined by his flaws. He's defined by his imperfections. They become his facets. They become kind of, I think, the way the audience will perceive this character. And it's very... And I think it makes it very easy for an audience to imprint some of their own imperfections or some of their own private shortcomings onto a character like this. It makes it very accessible for people to relate to or connect with, because he's not Superman, he's not Dick Tracy, he's nothing like that. I think through his cases and through his interactions and relationships with the different people, Dottie or Morty, Louise, he's also discovering who he is for himself. I've worked with many of the actors in the show, on theater, I've worked on film with a number of them. And then there's several that I have not met yet. To me, it's always different working with them in this context because we're never in the same room at the same time. Stephanie Adams, who plays Dottie, I've known Stephanie for years. We've done 2 plays together. And yet, when I'm listening to her lines, because I always like to come in after people have recorded something already, because Jerry is a reactive character and it gives me something to react to. But I don't see her. I see this creation she's done. Except Ken Peterson, of course. Ken Peterson is just, he's Hank. Ken sells it beautifully. And because I know Ken personally, it's one of those, I think, to these actors where you could dissever them from their roles. Him, I can't. I think it's funny, as the world of New Orleans, that the Bo-Gen world has expanded, I find it kind of funny that, for whatever reason, Duncan Barr is every corrupt, seedy character in this world. It's almost like they're all related, and they all look like Duncan with like different hair or something. In my mind, anyway, when I do this. It's really hard to sit there and say, oh, that's my favorite episode. Again, I'm a very obsessive compulsive person, so on any type of question of absolutes, I'm lost with questions like that. I'll probably text Bo like at 2 o'clock in the morning, like 4 weeks from now, and be like, that was my episode I like the best. I like the stuff that Bo comes up with about the supernatural, because Bo's a very ghosty person. So I really enjoyed anything, the haunted house episode, and is it a ghost, is it not a ghost, it was very fun, it was different, and it throws Jerry into one of those situations where he's completely a fish out of water, and it's always fun to play and to kind of unexpectedly hit those notes or those story bits. Yeah, I've really enjoyed that. I've enjoyed thoroughly watching the development of Jerry's relationship with Dottie. There's that very Bogey and Bacall tension between the two characters, and it's great, and it fits, it works, it's fun, it lightens up some of the episodes when things get dark. But in keeping with that great element of where this story can go in any direction, at any time, it'll take a step forward, but then it'll take two back, and then it'll go sideways, and then it will misdirect. That overarching element is always very light and fun, and it's engaging. And every season, they start to push a little bit further and further and further. I am very, very happy that we are starting the third season. 2 years ago, when I started this journey with Bo, I had no idea where this thing was going to go. I knew, okay, well, here's season 1, we're going to have a season, but, beyond that, there was no expectation. So the fact that the enthusiasm for it seemed to have built season to season is wonderful. And the fact that the people who have been part of our audience, who received it, enjoyed it, I think is fantastic. The pilot was a surprise. And one of the easiest things for me to get engaged, excited, want to do a project is, am I surprised? Am I interested? And it gripped me. The pilot, I thought the material, yes, it's really good, I want to do it. But once you get to episode 5, episode 10, 15, 20, is it still gripping you? Is it still surprising you? And it is, for me. This series continues to do that because Bo and Jen have been very smart about building on the model that they started with and going in all these different directions, not just with Jerry, but all these different characters, and the city, which itself is another character in the show. So now we get to season 3, and again, it's unexpected, or something, and I'll get the script and read it and be like, oh, that's really interesting. I think that now that we've gotten to this point, and it's still surprising, and it's still just unexpected in ways that I hadn't really anticipated, it's good. It's very satisfying to know that we are moving forward in a direction that, for someone who has no knowledge of where this is going, will be continually surprised. Because if you've done it, again, the thing, it's in theater, people know this, and television people know this, you do the same characters over and over and over and over and over, it becomes very repetitive, and it becomes very mundane. This isn't. Jerry still surprises me, and I have never continuously connected to a character for as long as I have with Jerry. The fact that I get to be still exploring and learning about this character and getting to know who he is, and it's still being surprised, is great. I look forward to it, and I hope that we have many more seasons that are just as surprising and just as unexpected as we have. So yeah, I think we're just starting out. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this featurette, and also to our listeners who have been following us for 2 seasons now. Don't forget to visit NolaNoir.com, where you can buy plenty of Gerard Dupris swag for yourself. You can take me to the grocery store. You can even wear me to bed. So be sure to check out, again, NolaNoir.com. New episodes are going to drop the end of September. Again, that's www.NolaNoir.com. Really? Forget it. I'm going to the store.